Hi everyone, welcome to my first Prose tutorial video. In this video we're just going to look at downloading and installing Prose, and then we'll create our first project and make sure everything's working. And then in the next video we'll actually start writing some code and doing interesting things. So if you already have Prose installed, you should probably just skip this video and go on to the next one. Okay, so first thing we want to do is download Prose. So we are going to use the Superior browser and we'll search for so Prose is search for Purdue's robotics operating system, so search for something like that. And yes, we're using DuckDuckGo, of course, the search engine that does not track you. And so we want this prose.cs.purdue.edu website, not the SourceForge website. That is the old website. And it's so beautiful. Scroll down and then, oh look, a giant download button. And we are running Windows. If you're using something else, I suppose you should click that. And so we'll download it. Okay, and of course save the installer. And I kind of live in the sticks, so it's going to take a while because I'm using garbage Exceed satellite internet. So while that's happening, let me just talk a little bit about how I envision these videos going. First off, I think they are for absolute beginners, hence why we're starting with installing this. If you're really a more experienced programmer, then you probably shouldn't even need videos. You should just be able to read the documentation on the Prose website. And another thing is that the way I intend to do this is just that we're kind of gonna figure stuff out as we go, and so we're going to use the Prose documentation, their website, a lot. And we're just going to learn what we need to learn in order to do what we want to do, and we'll gradually learn more as we need to do more. And I think that's really the way everyone should learn how to program. And so we're definitely not going to start with a whole bunch of like programming theory. We're just going to jump right into actually application and writing the code that we need to write. So if you're looking for theory, you should probably like look up C programming tutorials, and there's plenty of that out there. And if that's really what your heart desires. But I think that's not really the way to learn how to program. The way I've learned how to use several different languages, I certainly wouldn't say I'm an expert in any of them, but I've certainly used them in actual applications, and it's always just been I've learned how to do what I need to do by looking at examples and kind of just learning the bare minimum, not learning how to do things properly. Okay, so if you're a more experienced programmer, you might be kind of cringing at how I do stuff, especially in the beginning. Because we're going to write some not too beautiful of code, but we'll eventually make the code nicer as it becomes necessary or worthwhile to do so. Okay, so that finished downloading. Okay, and hopefully it opens. Okay, so here we have the installer. We're going to install for everybody. I suppose you could install it for just you, but I don't know why you would. Okay, the toolchain unpack is optional. If you actually want to upload code, which probably you do, then you definitely need these drivers. I guess really you only need the one for whatever thing you have, but why not just install all of them, okay? And if you already have been using like RobotC or something, then you probably have these drivers installed and don't need them, but assuming that this is your first time programming anything, then you're going to need those drivers. Okay, and the installation folder is just program files Prose. Okay, that's great. Next, okay, so they have this Mozilla public, they're using the Mozilla public license. It's really beautiful and long. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, and then this, oh, okay, so we got to allow it to make changes, blah blah blah, Windows Smart Screen. Okay, and so the first thing it's going to install apparently is one of the drivers for uploading code. That's great. And sorry, this keeps opening on my main display, which is not the one that I'm using to record this. Yeah, we have to accept now Vex's license agreement or actually whoever made this driver's license agreement. Okay, and oh dear. Okay, so let me ramble some more about, oh no, now it's going fast. Okay, that's done now. If you have it on your device running, please. Okay, we don't have it plugged in. I guess if you had your robot plugged in, you probably should not have it plugged in right now. Okay, and now we wait, and hopefully it starts the next installer? Question mark. Okay, so now I'll ramble some more. Oh, no. Okay, Windows Smart Screen, yes, we're okay letting the next thing run. Now it's the VEX programming driver 32-bit. Okay, and it keeps closing windows and opening new ones, and see, there we go. Great, we'll install this. Okay, and this one's probably not going to do anything for about 5 seconds, and then it'll suddenly say it's done, because apparently status bars are hard. Yep, see. The wizard was interrupted. System has not been modified. Perhaps because this isn't a 32-bit system. I guess I shouldn't have checked that box, but whatever. Okay, Windows Smart Screen again. Yes, we're letting all kinds of stuff through. Okay, now we have the 64-bit one. Install that. It installed successfully. Okay, so yeah, that's good. Okay, and now it should hopefully get to actual pros. Okay, and Windows Smart Screen one more time. And I wonder how this is going to look on the video. Okay, so it wasn't correctly installed. It's only saying that because I checked the box and then it wasn't installed. I shouldn't have checked the box in the first place. So if you're running this on a 64-bit system, apparently don't check the 32-bit box. Yeah, we want to continue the installation. Okay. So what I was saying about like writing bad code is that we will just start by writing basically the bare minimum code to make stuff to work. And then as we want to do more advanced stuff, we'll need to make our code neater, or else it'll just become a giant mess. But in the beginning, I don't think there's a need to learn all the stuff that's requisite to write neat code. Instead, I think we should just learn what's necessary to write code that works. And neat code will come in time. Along those same lines, we're not going to like learn a bunch of like theory about like different types and like what a function is, and we're not even going to bother using like all the correct terminology, because it's more important, I think, that we just gain an understanding of like kind of what stuff does and how it works, rather than of like all the formal theory of what is C programming. Okay. So yeah, and like I said, this is what has worked for me of how I've learned stuff in the past, so hopefully it kind of works maybe for someone else too, or maybe not. I guess these are the only pros tutorial videos because Cody deleted his ones from way back when, so you don't really have much of a choice. You can either watch this or you can watch nothing. And then as soon as I make this, I bet like several other people will, so hopefully it won't be the only ones for long. I definitely don't think that's a good thing. Okay, so we're copying new files. This installer like takes a surprising amount of time. I was just running it prior to this on a laptop that I use for programming, and it's like a really garbage laptop, and it took forever. And I didn't install the drivers on that because I already had them, so that's why that was unexpected for me. Yeah. And for whatever reason, like they finish their status bars and they start them over again, and it's just kind of discouraging. No, but yeah, so it definitely does take several minutes, and this is like actually on like a pretty nice computer with an SSD. So if you have an old computer, which I know like a lot of people use for programming because like you don't care if it gets beat up and stuff, which is what I do. So if you're on an old computer, like you should expect this to take absolutely forever. Oh, and also, so you're like, well, why doesn't he just like cut the video and just like skip past all this installation so I don't have to sit here and watch it? Well, one, because you can fast forward the video on YouTube, and two, because then I wouldn't get to ramble to you, and three, because I don't really want to take the time to cut the video, and I'm not going to take the time to cut any of the videos, so whatever mistakes I make in videos, you're probably going to end up seeing them on YouTube in the final videos that I publish, because I'm really hoping to not have to do anything. I really don't have time to make these videos at all. I should be working on my robot right now, and so I'm certainly not going to be taking the time to cut the videos. Okay, so yeah, you're probably going to want to be doing a lot of fast forwarding on this one. Let's see, what else should I go on and on about? So one of the things I'm thinking about is like, how am I gonna demonstrate code working? So of course I have a robot, but I don't really want to get an external camera. I don't really want to get a camera at all out in order to record the robot. So I would rather just like exclusively show the code on the screen. But I also want to like make sure that the code that we write actually works, because I'm just going to be like kind of making up the code as I go. I'm not going to be like writing code that I've already written or something like that. Okay, so it would probably be good to have some kind of verification method of what we're doing. So I'm going to be thinking about that in between now and whenever I make this next video. And we're extracting files from the archive. And the status bar is full. Oh, so here's another thing I can talk about. So kind of something interesting that might be worthwhile about knowing about how this whole prose thing works is, and by the way, like I'm not a student at Purdue. I don't help them make this at all. I don't have any really affiliation with them. I don't know the people that do this that well. I'm just someone who uses it and who used it basically since it came out. 127 was probably one of the first teams to adopt it way back when. They used it at Worlds in Tossup, which basically was the first year at Worlds that anyone could have used it, because it didn't exist before that. So, what was I saying? Oh, so first off, so like I'm not an expert about how prose works because I don't make it. I don't work for them. I don't work with them. I mean, their students don't pay people. But so what's interesting is, so what they did is they have just written their own like firmware for the Cortex, and so that's the code that we're putting on the Cortex. And then they've written a plugin for an existing program called Atom. And Atom, you'll see in a minute, is tagged as a hackable text editor. And so they've hacked it, quote unquote hacked it, and kind of made it look the way they want, although they haven't really changed it that much. Mainly what they've done is given us the ability to create projects that already have the various code that we need in them, and the ability to build those projects in Atom and upload code to the Cortex. So anyway, so the point is that this whole like Atom thing that you're going to see is this program that they've taken and written a plugin for and kind of made their own, and now they're using that as the program to write code for the Cortex in. And so what we're installing right now is basically Atom plus some plugins. Okay, and so this command prompt window just opened up. It's doing stuff. You don't need to do anything, you just need to wait more. But anyway, I just wanted to show that so if you see it, you don't freak out. Okay, and so that closed, and now it opened another one. Now it's installing Platformio IDE terminal. Okay, and so what they're doing is like they made their own installer for Atom, and so they're distributing it, and their installer installs like Atom itself and also a bunch of plugins for Atom, one of which are like the Prose plugins, and then also install some other plugins made by other people that are useful for what we're going to be using it for. And one of those is this Platformio IDE terminal. Okay. I like how this says it's removing backup files, but this is installing Platformio. I feel like those are not the same thing. So is it doing two things at once, or is it lying to us? Oh dear, I really was thinking that this would go faster on my desktop. Like, I saw how slow it was on my laptop, and I'm like, okay, I'll make the video and it'll be faster on my desktop, but it's not. Okay, so we're finally done. Finish. Fantastic. Okay, and now, so this little window came up. It's deleting extracted files. How delightful. Okay, and so, by the way, it doesn't create a desktop shortcut, so we can easily enough find it nonetheless. The program that you want is called Prose Editor. Apparently the 64-bit version is called x64. On my 32-bit laptop, it was just Prose Editor. Okay, I suppose maybe like we should restart or something before opening this. I don't know, people do that sometimes, right? But we're not going to, because we're recording a video. So it's opening, okay. And the first time it opens, it has to install like some different plugins and stuff. I guess they call them packages, not plugins. So we need to wait for that to happen. And when it does, I believe this like pops up a green window instead of the blue one. So we're gonna wait. And so yeah, so it's called the Hackable Text Editor. It's called Atom. I think it's made by GitHub, or the same people that make GitHub. It's like actually becoming fairly widely used by a lot of people in industry. That's one of the reasons why they chose it, I'm sure. They probably like used it at school. And it is really nice for like all kinds of stuff, not just for programming, but just for like writing text snippets and taking notes and stuff like that. I've used it for just taking meeting notes before. Okay, and so this is like the general just Atom welcome, and then once this is done, you'll see there's also a Prose welcome. So it doesn't need to show us this every time at opening. That's just going to be annoying. So while we're waiting, let's close that. If you want to like learn how to use Atom, maybe just like read some of the stuff. I don't know, probably not. Okay, no, we don't need to help them. Okay, and then it's just like a blank, it's not even a text file, it's just a blank file where you could write text or whatever you want. And once this finishes, we'll see that it actually has like things that we want. Basically right now this is going to be useless for us also. Okay. And again, these things are also going to be not what we're using. What you'll see happens is that there's going to be an extra toolbar item up here, menu bar I guess, called Prose. And so we're going to click on that to open Prose, go figure, and do the different, well, to do different stuff we want to do. And there also will be buttons up here once this is done. And so if you don't ever get a Prose menu item, you don't ever get buttons up here, then something's wrong. It didn't install correctly, but you have to wait for this to finish. Okay, so there's a lot of waiting in this video, I realize now. And so we wait some more. I wonder how long this is going. Oh, 18 minutes. That's not too bad. So something else I'm thinking about is what kind of things we wanted to start with first. So I think like first we're just going to write operator control code, because that seems to be like the first thing everyone does, I would think. And from there, then we'll start working on adding sensors to our operator control code, like the bare minimum sensors. So like everyone this year probably would like to have some kind of sensor on their lift, whether it's a quad encoder or a IME or a potentiometer or something. So then we'll do that, and then we'll do Auton code. Okay, so Prose finished. So now you get this Prose welcome screen, which is what you should get when it's finally finished and working. And then see, now we have the buttons like I'm talking about, and it says Prose here, and there's menu items. Okay, so do we want to show it when it starts up? Sure, why not? I guess they would probably like me to say that we should send them usage statistics, so I will leave that checked. Okay, and then this tells us the version of our command line interface and our Atom plugin. Okay, and basically those numbers should be there and they should exist, and that means it's good.